Hey Dadders, welcome to Dmrobg Review as American Dad. This episode covers episode 4 of season 21, A Mount Chimborazo Adventure. Fun fact, I found out that Mount Chimborazo actually exists. That is your fun fact for today. But let's get started. The family waits for a new stove, the fanciest stove in all of France. Stan buys a cheaper one and installs it himself, leading to a gas leak. Now, once in the hospital, Francine wants to climb Mount Everest because it was always a dream of hers. Stan takes them to Mount Chimborazo because, quite frankly, it's a lot cheaper. Family, of course, finds out on the plane, and Stan goes off on his own because his feelings are hurt and his family is mad at him. Family is entertained by Vicente, the tour guide. The family just parties for their first night and winds up going to the mountain to find Stan. Roger falls in love with Vicente, eventually dressing as him and trying to copy all of his mannerisms. Klaus has to go zorbing, gets into an argument with the agent in charge. The family soon finds Stan, and Francine is, quite frankly, having a wonderful time. Now, it turns out that Vicente is a serial killer. This causes Roger to abandon him, but fortunately for the family, Pixar is there, harvesting the mountain for its resources. Now, because the family had such a wonderful time, they join Vicente in defending the mountain and fighting off Pixar. They, of course, lose at first until Klaus comes back in his little zorbing bubble, and they help turn the tide against Pixar. And the family decides to keep Mount Chimborazo a secret.
Bye, have a great time.
Overall, I give this episode a C. Okay. A C+. See, here's the thing. It's boring. Well, among other problems, it's very boring. There are scenes where, as I was watching it the second or third time, I'm sitting there going, come on, get to the joke so you can move on to the next scene. And I did not really have that in some of the older seasons. This is a season that is so full of callbacks, of references, that I'm still figuring stuff out even as I watch weeks later. And this episode is just so straightforward, it's dull. On top of that, look at the way Vicente turns out to be a serial killer. So why did Vicente turn out to be a killer? Because it was the beginning of the third act and they needed a twist. My problem is that Klaus's storyline is about 4 minutes long, and I was actually invested in that. So the other 16 minutes of the episode goes to Vicente and the family. So think about that. All they're doing is going up to a hill, getting betrayed, and that takes 16 minutes. That storyline is stretched out so thin, I'm afraid I'm wearing the one ring of, and it's just stretching out my life force and stretching out time itself. Pixar and Vicente could have been absolutely foreshadowed sooner, and it would have made the episode a lot more interesting because even though Klaus's storyline is 4 minutes long, I'm not sure there was much there, but there wasn't much invested in me in the family side either. If they turn it into a murder mystery, into an environmental mystery, that would have been so much better. On top of that, look at the way Roger acts with Vicente. Roger is absolutely simping for Vicente, copying his every movement, until they're betrayed. And why would that matter to Roger? You know what would have been really interesting? To have Roger absolutely betray the family as well because Vicente did. And then, when the family goes to fight Pixar, have Roger be like, oh, God, I was wondering how this is going to work out. See, here's the thing. This entire episode is giving me really strong Family Guy vibes. You know how Francine used to have this really strong hood girl background? I like that about her. I could relate to that. Now here, she wants to climb Mount Everest, which I will admit is not necessarily too abstract from the hood girl reference, from the hood girl past. But at the same time, it's like they're making stuff up to go just to make the episodes have a plot, and this is crap Family Guy does. Look at the beginning with the gas leak. That entire series takes about a minute and a half. There's no substance, it has very little to do with the rest of the episode, and there's Family Guy style slapstick. That slapstick is not American Dad, it is Family Guy, and it should stay Family Guy. American Dad has its own style, and this violates that style. Please keep your Family Guy out of American Dad. Now, see, here's the thing. The episode does get interesting later on. For example, this cave of crystals. Look at the way Pixar's cutting down trees. Those are Dr. Seuss style trees. Look at the unique animals. Had these been in the episode sooner, I would rate it much higher, but as it is, it's just dull. And throughout the entire plot line, my entire thought is this. Is this really all there is? These stories could have been so much clever with a few minor changes like that, and the writers just didn't do it. And the story itself could have been so much more interesting, and the writers just didn't do it. I don't know if they're not putting forth the effort. I don't know if it's because they're running out of ideas. I mean, I don't know if they're under pressure to be more like Family Guy, but it just doesn't fit with American Dad. Now, granted, I do like the American Dad Republican critique, where Stan is such an overbearing, narcissistic oaf here. He does stuff that sets off the plot. Okay, good, but I think this kind of goes way too far. I really want to enjoy the 21st season, but now it's looking just kind of meh, honestly. On top of that, look at everything else. The entire family is there, likely because of contractual obligations. Klaus's storyline is 4 minutes long. There could have been a lot they could have done with it. I mean, even with an extra 3 minutes, 4 minutes. That would have balanced things out so much better. In addition, giving us more non-Quagmire pervert Klaus. I mean, heck, why not have Klaus hang out with his friends? I mean, that would have been amazing. It would have been character building. But right, it is concentrating on family so much, everyone else suffered. And I frankly think that's hurting this season right now. And quite frankly, it feels like this American Dad's becoming another Family Guy clone like the Cleveland show was. And I hate it. Everyone please let me know what you think in the comments down below. And everyone please have fun and enjoy.